Morning, everybody. Andy here again, day 51, over that little hump, on to the next 50. Right, first things first, the daily figures. Yesterday, the reported deaths, 494, so not very good, is it? And the total now is 33,186. One other quick thing I will mention is the much heralded 100,000 tests per day figure that was meant to be in by the end of April. I think they've managed to get there a couple of times, but by what fair means or foul, whatever. But yesterday, the amount of tests done were 87,000, so they're not getting very close to it. And Boris has even said he wants to get to 200,000 tests by the end of May. We ought to get to 100,000 first, properly. Anyway, I thought I'd try and talk about something a little bit different today. I've been watching a series of videos I've mentioned before called Word in the Attic, and I'll put a link down there. It's a music thing with David Hepworth and Mark Ellen, who used to run lots of different music magazines, but they get guests on talking about what they're doing now, really. They're musicians, they're artists, lots of different types of journalists, etc. But the main thing that they do is they get them to sort of, it's like a show and tell type of thing, in a way, I suppose. And because of what's been going on, I know we're coming out of this sort of lockdown now. More and more people are going back to work, getting back to some sort of semblance of normality. But over that period where we've been in that sort of lockdown, most of us anyway, a lot of people have been rummaging around in their attics. They've been sorting things out, and that's the whole premise of that. And they're sort of getting people to show things that they've found, they stumbled across, because people are going up, as I say, going up in their attics and looking through things. Think, well, actually, I'll sort all those type of things out. And I've seen loads of people doing that with sort of family history stuff, or just going through old bits and pieces. You've had the time to sort of rummage around in that cupboard, get those boxes out and think, I wonder what is in here. Sometimes some of that stuff can be fascinating, so it's sort of taken people back, but it's given them ideas about doing other things, maybe finding things that you didn't want to find as well. But one of the, I thought I'd share was a couple of things that we've done, actually. Because nowadays, back in the day when you used to take all the photos on your cameras, and you used to get all the photos and you used to put them in photo albums. Well, obviously now we're taking photos on our phones, or we're even doing videos for that matter, or we're using a digital camera. There aren't many people now who are still using the old film. It's a great way of doing it, but I mean, there's pros and cons, because obviously with the digital photography, you can take as many photos of the same image as you want, with different styles and everything, and obviously you can then alter them afterwards in the software that we've got. But if you have all these things on your computers, or on your hard drive, or on your phone, and you hardly ever look at them. And what people have been finding, I think, is that finding all these old photo albums in the cupboards, stuck in the back of the attic or something, and they're going, wow, this is brilliant, taking you back, I say, the family history side, or reminding you of things that you used to do. And we done that. We partly because of a particular offer that someone was doing. We thought, well, let's collate the photos. Let's go through for the holidays that we used to have. Remember those? and Julie, to be fair, has been going through a lot of them. And we've been getting. So what we've done is we created all these little books. Look, see all of these booklets of all sort of different trips that we've been on in the last sort of 18 months, and it's great because you can look. You design them yourselves. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to have them however you want them. So you can just produce your own sort of booklets, and you can just sit there and look at them. And it's a way of going back and looking back on things. They will be there forever, hopefully, and they're stuck on the shelf. They usually keep them on the bookshelf here. And because of that, you get them and you look at them, or other people can come and you can share them with your family. And that's a lot easier than it is trying to get your mum to look at something, a little image on a phone or something. But one of the points of that is it reminds you of that time that's gone by. Because, I mean, someone pointed out yesterday about all the, hang on, let's get this right, all the travel books that I've got up here. And lots of the artifacts and that I've got from travel. But that's a time that has gone. If there's nothing else, those books are a reminder that you should do things when you can, when you've got the opportunity. And maybe that time has passed now. We had the opportunity to go and do some of those trips. We did a lot of trips in a very short space of time, but boy, are we glad we did them now, because whether we'll be able to do them in the future, certainly in the way that we did them, the ease that we did them, I'm not sure that we're ever going to get to that point again. And that's the sort of point of this, in a way, is yes, I know things will start to get back, as I was saying, getting back to normal in some ways, but will we ever be travelling in quite the same way? We're already thinking, as I said before, we had one holiday that's been cancelled. We've managed to rearrange it. We have another one planned for later in the year. First world problems and all that, I know that. It's not as important as many other things, but it's important because it's something that you do, something that you love to do. And we love to travel. And you have plans, you have thoughts, exactly what I've just been saying, because none of us are getting any younger. We think, right, we want to do these things while we can, hence doing those particular trips there. And also, what these books are here for as well. And some of these bits and pieces are from trips, because they produce great memories that you can keep in books like that and in your head as well, and maybe write things down. But how are those things going to be in the future? Is it going to be the same? We don't know whether we can be able to travel to Europe, for example, here. There's still no flights going. If there are flights, how easy is it going to be? I mean, after sort of 9/11 and all the security aspects that were brought into flying, changed the nature of flying completely. But we've got used to that. As annoying as it may be, we understand why. But what's going to happen now? What will we be able to do? The check-in and all that sort of thing, the social distancing in airports and everything that may come with that. It's uncharted territory, and it's going to make everything seem a little bit stranger. Things might be more expensive. It's not going to be as easy to travel to do different things. So there's the thought, that sort of the way we were in that respect. But one other thing that brought that home to us yesterday, a friend of ours on Facebook who takes loads of photos at gigs and all the things that happen in and around Hastings, all the events and the festivals. He put up a whole series of photos, I think it's about getting on for 90 to 100 photos, mainly of people at all these particular events, because apart from taking photos of the bands and the members of the bands, the musicians, he also takes photos of the audience and the people enjoying themselves in costumes or just being themselves and enjoying themselves. And it was amazing looking at that. It was like looking back into another world, as I said, the way we were. And it's quite emotional in a way, because you think, wow, are we ever going to be able to do that? You see all those smiling faces, everybody enjoying themselves, all packed together closely in pubs and clubs and venues and festivals and fields or whatever it might be, dressed up, thoroughly enjoying themselves. You think, will that ever happen again in quite the same way? It's quite sobering, really, with that sort of two aspects of where we are at the moment. And that's just two. I'm sure there are plenty of others. Even the workplace is changing. So it makes you wonder where we're going to be. I know this is a topic that you come back to in many different times, I suppose, as we edge along that particular road. So just a couple of thoughts there. So, if you find some of those photos, dig them out and have a look at them, whether it's your holiday photos or maybe photos of when you've had great times. Just have a look back, cheer yourself up a little bit. It might make you a bit more sad in some ways because of that time has gone, but at least it would maybe just cheer you up slightly. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Thanks for your time. Stay strong, stay safe, and hopefully I'll speak to you tomorrow. Goodbye.